Welcome back to Unreal Engine 5, Blueprint Mastery, Door Systems and Interactive Portals. Previously, we created our BP float text. We actually added a few more components and created the construction script that controls the text, the color and the intensity. We added it to our map and we used the components themselves. We chose the blueprint and then from the details we chose the components we wanted and moved them to the space accordingly where we wanted. Let's continue with the coding part. When the player overlaps, let's ask again if it's our player when the other actor. This time we're gonna do it a little bit different. We're gonna go to our content browser, we're gonna go to a third person, and we're gonna go to our folder blueprints and open our BP third person. On the third person, there is the code that moves our player around, there is the construction script and the viewport. The viewport consists of the character mesh, the capsule, a camera boom stick, and the camera, and a character movement component. Now, what we want is to use the capsule and go to the details and search for tag. And add the tag P. Now, what are tags? Tags are simple labels or identifiers, if you wish, that could be assigned to blueprint actors or components and help categorize and identify objects in the game world, making it easier to filter and find or trigger specific behaviors in code. For example, right now, what we're gonna do, let's save and compile. Let's go back to our tool. We're gonna ask if not the other actor, but the component we overlapped, does it have the tag? Does actually has tag. Component has tag. And we're gonna choose P, because that's the tag that we entered over here. I'm gonna close this, we don't need it anymore. And if the component that overlapped with the box has the tag P, then we will use a branch, which is an if node. So basically, if this if is correct, if it's true, the condition, our condition right now, it's the component has tag, it goes from true. If not, it goes from false. So it's an if-else statement with a condition. And of course, it needs the execution. If we have the component tag P, then we fire the true branch. If not, we fire the false branch. If it's true, we're gonna need the text renderer and we're gonna need the point light. We're gonna draw a set visibility. Now this is a node that controls the visibility of a component. We should turn it to true and go to our details in the text render and search for visibility and turn it to false, and the same we do to the point light. As you see, I changed the entity, the component I'm clicking on, and it kept the tag over here. So this is very helpful. I'm gonna turn light off, render off, compile and save. So this will turn the visibility of both to true. Let's go test it. If I go play, I can see nothing. I pass here, approach to open. Perfect. Step here to close, approach to open. Let's make our second level visible. I'm gonna click on the eye on the second level and now it's visible. And let's actually, if we enter this room, let's duplicate this. I'm gonna just select this and drag it over here and select the bottom thing also and drag it over here. Maybe a little bit further over here. I could copy the text also, just gonna rotate, and with Alt, I'm gonna duplicate it and drag it over here. So, yeah, I think it's fine. Let's go select our new trigger. go to our tutorial map, bring the reference and connect it here. So that would be it. Now we binded this trigger also to this event. So if I'm gonna play, I can go here, approach to open, actually approach to open, and I'm gonna step over here and close, open, close. Great. Our next door will be the one that we press E and it opens. So let's bring our collision actor here. Actually, I'm gonna bring a new one. Float text here. Let's set for text press E to open door. Let's put a space here. Again, if I wanted to change how it looks, the text, I could select the text render, I could change the options here, I could change the color, and we haven't exposed all these variables, we just exposed what the text would be. Where do we want to collide? Let's say when the player has walked through half of the room, let's say somewhere here. Again, to move this, I'm just selecting it from the details. Let's put the light somewhere here. And let's bring the text. Where is the text? Oh, it's not visible. This is why I can't see it. So I'm gonna go to search visibility in the details of the text. Gonna turn it to true. And now I have the text. I kind of don't like this, so I'm gonna just change some settings. Gonna set it to center and X to center. All right, I think this looks better. Yep, that place is fine. We can find Wigit another time. Now let's check if I need to set it back to invisible, the visibility. Right, let's test it. Let's move to this door, and there is no text. I'm closing the door, and this appeared. Great. Now, the only thing we need is to make this door. So, let's begin with creating the blueprint. I'm gonna right click and go to blueprint class and select an actor blueprint, because we don't need to possess it, we don't need to move it, it's just an entity with some functionality. So, actor blueprint, I'm gonna call it PP one-way door. Oops. PP one-way door. So, let's open this blueprint. Actually, let's create a folder for the doors. Let's have a folder called doors inside the blueprints. And I'm gonna drag and drop it here. And let's bring it in the world. We're gonna set it afterwards. And another way to open the blueprint, besides double clicking here, would be from the outliner, just choosing the blueprint I want to edit. And if I have bring it in the world, I can just click over here, edit blueprint, or I can just select open blueprint editor from selecting the asset and over here. So I'm gonna open it. And for this blueprint, we're gonna need 3 components. Let's add a collision box. This will be detecting whether the player is in range or not, so it can open the door or not. And we're gonna need also an arrow, so we know where the door is facing. which is the front side and which is the back side, and we're gonna need a static mesh. So for the static mesh, actually, because I don't want to be searching the assets, since we have it here, I can just select this, browse to the, sorry, not this arrow, and the details here. I'm gonna delete visibility, and I'm gonna be selecting the door, and on the static mesh, I can see which static mesh is the entity of this static mesh. I'm gonna go here, and here is the door. Now I'm gonna go back to my blueprint and add static mesh, and it has already selected the door for me. Great. Now it's a little bit off pivot. Doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna bring it over here, and the rest we can move from the map itself by selecting the blueprint. Let's rotate it 90 degrees, because the movement is going to be on relative space. Now, what does this mean? When I rotate the door here, first of all, I rotate the whole blueprint. So even if I rotated the door some other way, it would be in world space. This means I'm rotating it based on the coordinates and the Cartesian system of the map, which is based on the XYZ axis of the map and the locations that we can see everything is. So location and rotation would be relative to the coordinates of this system. But what we're gonna do we're gonna be rotating just this part, which I actually parented to the arrow. Now, make sure that these things are not parented, and if that happens, like they don't have an arrow here, we just drag and drop it to the root, we attach it, we do not make a new root, so everything is an entity on its own. For example, if I attach the arrow to the door and move the door around, then I'm moving the arrow with it. If I detach it, yeah, you can do that also, like if something is attached, if you drag and drop it on itself, it detaches. So now if I move the door, the arrow, as you can see, stays there. Now, I'm going to be moving this door in a relative location, a relative rotation. Different than set actor rotation. As you could see, when I moved the actor here, the pivot point was the center of the actor. Whereas I want to move the door based on its own pivot point on the relative rotation in the blueprint. But I think I digress. I think we should see it in action, and we would leave this one for the next course, the next lesson. So I'm gonna see you then. Goodbye.